Thanks for coming down. I'm Sergeant Aaron Road, Media Relations Officer for the Vancouver Police Department. Road is R-O-E-D. Vancouver Police are investigating 2 incidents of attempted shoplifting over the past weekend that had the potential to turn violent. On December 6th, just after 12 o'clock p.m., a man entered the liquor store on Commercial Drive at Grant Street. He had attempted to steal some alcohol, but was apprehended by a loss prevention officer. He was arrested and placed into handcuffs. While in custody, he pulled out a knife and threatened to stab the loss prevention officer. This suspect then fled the area. Vancouver police officers attended, tracked down this individual who was hiding in a garage not far from the liquor store. He was taken into custody, but they were able to stop anybody from getting hurt, and we are seeing an increase of people being brazen and violent during these shoplifting. Tyler Fitzpatrick, a 20-year-old man with no fixed address, was arrested and charged. He is still in custody. He was charged for theft under $5,000, uttering threats to cause death or bodily harm, possessing a weapon for a dangerous purpose, and escape lawful custody. Mr. Fitzpatrick was also wanted on multiple warrants throughout the province and was also arrested for them. Mischief, possession of break-in instruments, possession of stolen property, and theft. On December 8th, at about 3:30 p.m., 2 accomplices attempting to steal clothing from the Lululemon store at West 4th and Arbutus were also arrested by the Vancouver Police. A man entered the store and attempted to steal hundreds of dollars worth of clothing. He was apprehended by a loss prevention officer and subsequently pulled out a can of bear spray. He threatened to spray the loss prevention officer in the face and fled the area. An accomplice of his, shortly after, also entered the store and again tried to steal more clothing. She also fled the area. Vancouver police officers tracked down these 2 individuals and arrested them. Andre Goudreau, 40, and Patricia Dove, 41, both Vancouver residents, were charged and are in custody. They were charged with assault with a weapon, possessing a weapon for a dangerous purpose, and theft under $5,000. Loss prevention officers sometimes have a tough job. Thieves can be unpredictable, and we never want to see someone get hurt over stolen property. Our officers work behind the scenes to target criminals and thieves, and we also work to provide businesses with safety tips and information. Last month, the Vancouver Police Department completed a special 3-week project targeting shoplifters in downtown Vancouver, which subsequently had 25 arrests. We worked with the Downtown Vancouver Business Improvement Association, Robson Business Improvement Association, loss prevention officers for a number of retail stores, members from our community police stations, and our partners at Ecom. What we did was we had loss prevention officers watching thieves inside of a number of retail stores in downtown Vancouver who notified Vancouver police officers who were positioned outside. As these thieves left the store, they were arrested and charged. We're also starting a Christmas crime team, which is going to work over the holiday season, working with the Robson BIA, the Downtown Vancouver BIA, gathering hot spots on retail stores which are being targeted by thieves. Our officers are going to work as a team, watch these thieves steal property, and arrest them as they try to leave these stores. Anyone who witnesses a theft in progress is asked to call 911. Is there any questions regarding this?
Where do you see the most thefts happening from that 3-week project you did? What area is more high in theft?
Well, we focused on the downtown Vancouver.
Like Robson Street or South Granville?
So we are seeing a number of thefts and shoplifting along Robson, along Granville Street and Davie. Those are our main corridors with retail outlets, but we are seeing a number of these shoplifting events happen inside Pacific Centre. There's no specific area that is not being targeted. This is the holiday season, and we're seeing a number of these thieves try to go to any retail store to get what they can.
Is there one store that you'd seen the highest number of shoplifting reported?
I don't have that number on one specific store, but we are seeing that they're targeting any store within Vancouver.
I have to ask about the change in messaging here. 12 days ago, Global News asked Vancouver Police if they'd seen an uptick in shoplifting downtown, and in particular incidents of violent shoplifting. 12 days ago, Vancouver Police said they'd noticed no uptick.
Yeah.
Today we learned that not only have you noticed an uptick, but up to a month ago, there was a task force underway looking at this problem.
Our task force is a deployment model that we don't always let the public know. We are entering the holiday season, and we want people to be aware at this time of their parcels being stolen and retail stores being targeted. In 2018, we had approximately 1,950 shoplifting thefts as a number that we responded to. As of the beginning of December this year, we have approximately the exact same number. So we still have another 30 days to go, or 25 days to go, so we aren't seeing a huge spike in numbers, and those are the numbers that we were letting you know 11 days ago. So we're not seeing spikes, but what we are seeing is during these shoplifting events, people are becoming violent. And this is what we're trying to let people know. I know there was a video that was posted last week from an IGA store on Robson. These are events that we're noticing. We're not seeing a spike in them, but we want people to be aware. We want people to be safe.
We had asked the department if this was on their radar because we were hearing from a number of businesses that this was a problem. And you gave us the impression 12 days ago that this wasn't a problem. Now we're hearing it is.
This is why, well, like I said, we're trying to know that our deployment on how we deal with different situations, we're not always going to let the public know because we don't want the thieves to know.
But don't you want the public and businesses to know that you're on this? You left the public and businesses with the impression that you were behind the eight ball on this.
I don't think that we'd let the public know that we're behind the eight ball on anything. Our Vancouver police officers work hard to make Vancouver the safest city in Canada. And the way we deploy our officers isn't always known to the public, but we are out there to provide safety and to work on property crime in this city.
I guess with respect, we didn't ask for you to go into details of how you deploy your officers 12 days ago. We just asked if it was a problem. We were led to believe it wasn't a problem. Now we're hearing it is a big problem.
It is an issue which we're trying to deal with. We want the public to be aware that shoplifting is happening in our city, especially over the holiday season. We want people to be aware that if they notice anybody criminal behavior happening, to call 911. If people are being violent, to call 911. Our loss prevention officers do a great job in our city, and we don't want them getting hurt. We want them to be aware that these thieves are out there, and they can be violent. Our Vancouver police officers will respond to all incidents in regards to shoplifting and other criminal activity. We want people to be aware over the holiday season that shoplifting is happening in our city, in our retail stores, and to be safe.
Is there any guess as to why violence is more often involved in these shoplifting cases? Is it different?
I couldn't guess why shoplifting gets to the point of needing to be violent. We want people to be safe out there. We want them to be aware that these shoplifters are there and to call 911.
Okay. We heard from a doctor the other day that meth has made a comeback on the streets in Vancouver in the last year or so. Similar timeline to what the businesses are saying. They've noticed in the last 6 months to a year that sort of violent shoplifting has come back. It's possible there's a parallel there.
I couldn't correlate if there's a connection between meth use and shoplifting in Vancouver. I'd have to look into those types of numbers. We're asking people to be aware.
When I used to work at a retail store, the messaging from the managers was, if you see shoplifting happening, you know, don't chase them, don't approach them, kind of thing. What's the messaging from the VPD for people who work in retail stores?
We're asking people to be safe. This is just property. It's a retail store. We don't want you to put yourself at risk over a sweatshirt. Call a loss prevention officer who is trained to deal with thieves in their stores. If there is a criminal aspect or some sort of safety risk, call 911. Vancouver Police will respond immediately.
And if I can, do you know anything about an incident that happened on Sunday at Nordstrom with an undercover Santa police?
Vancouver Police did respond to the parking garage behind Nordstrom connected to Pacific Center. The officers may have entered through the Nordstrom to get to the parking garage, but it wasn't involving Nordstrom. Two 15-year-old youths were in the parking garage with an imitation handgun and black masks. They were arrested. There was no robbery committed. They didn't enter the Nordstrom. From what I understand, the Nordstrom had no connection to this incident inside the parking garage at Pacific Center.
Were there shots fired?
No, this was an imitation handgun with two minors.
And we also heard that Santa was an undercover cop. Is there any truth to that?
Sorry, I didn't.
Undercover cop was dressed as Santa.
Sorry, I never heard anything
No.
about
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Just going forward on this shoplifting issue, you mentioned this is still a priority. What will that look like? Like you've got undercover officers, redeploying officers to hotspots?
Our Christmas crime team, which we are creating over the holiday season, is going to be working with the Downtown Vancouver Business Improvement Association, as well as the Robson Business Improvement Association, and our partners at Ecom. We're going to be sitting down with them. We did last week. We gathered information on retail stores that are being targeted by thieves. We've prioritized what we can with the resources that we have and the limited officers that we have that are able to deploy to this situation. They're going to be working plainclothes in downtown Vancouver. They're going to be looking like everyone in front of me now. They're going to be targeting these hot spots and looking at thieves who are committing the crimes and arresting them as they do so.
Could you tell us more about these hot spots? Like, I'm just curious on what stores are more likely to be targeted. Like, is it Victoria's Secret? Because I've seen it. It's so easy to throw it in your bag. The underwear there, they're not security tagged. Like, can you give us some...
Working with the Downtown Vancouver Business Improvement Association, as well as the Robson Business Improvement Association, they've let us know of the retail stores that are seeing a higher number of retail theft. We're not naming them at this time. We don't want to promote thieves or tell them where we're going to be setting up. We're going to be working over the holiday season, and we want them to know that we're out there. We're going to be arresting you.
There was the impression by some business owners we talked to that a lot of the stolen goods are being taken back to the downtown east side, perhaps to the market on Hastings, perhaps near Oppenheimer Park. Are you seeing any evidence of that?
That is something that's consistent over the past few years. We have seen that. A lot of property being sold within the downtown east side, but we're seeing that happen across the city and also for personal use. Thieves will steal things for a number of reasons.
I guess that should lead us to the next question about Oppenheimer. There's been some movement on that today, some developments from the park board. What's the police's response to that?
Any questions regarding the release which was put out by the Parks Board, we are referring you to speak with their representative on the direction that they will be headed. We are supporting the Parks Board as well as the City of Vancouver. We've not changed our stance in wanting an injunction. It's not happening yet. There is a number of criteria which need to be met. The Vancouver Police Department will continue to have a higher presence in Oppenheimer as well as the downtown east side and the community surrounding it. This hasn't changed. Vancouver Police are here to support the community and provide safety for the people in Oppenheimer and the surrounding area.
The VPD has been concerned about crime and violence in near and around Oppenheimer for the past few months. Can you give us an update on that and whether those concerns have changed?
Our concerns have not changed at Oppenheimer Park. We're still seeing a crime happen associated to the park. We are investigating any incident that does come forward. We're asking people, if you do see criminal activity in Oppenheimer Park, in the surrounding neighborhood in the downtown east side, to call 911 or a non-emergency police line.
You obviously strongly want to see an injunction happen sooner than later.
We want to get people into safe housing, good housing. We want to get people into housing that they want to be in. What the time frame is for that, I don't know. But we are supporting the Parks Board on the direction they're headed. We're going to support the City of Vancouver on the direction they're headed. And we're still going to be there for the people within Oppenheimer and the surrounding community.
Obviously, you're keeping a close eye on that situation there. Is it things going from bad to worse down there? Or is it...
I wouldn't make that conclusion at all, no.
Okay. All right.
What sparked the task force for the shoplifting? Did the Vancouver BIA come up to you
The Christmas
and say...
crime team that we're putting out there, this is not something new. This is a deployment tool fighting shoplifting that the Vancouver Department has used over the past few decades. We are letting thieves know. We want them to know. We have officers who are dedicated to dealing with shoplifting in downtown Vancouver, but not only downtown Vancouver, we're going to be in every community.
So is it annual thing?
We don't always talk about our deployment tools just because we don't want people to know. But right now, we do want the thieves to know that we're going to be out there, we're going to be watching you, and we're going to put you in jail.
But the violent element is a bit of a concerning new trend, is it not?
It's something that we're seeing right now. I don't have the numbers on, is it an increase? We don't want people being hurt dealing with property crime. It's just not worth it. Things can be replaced. There's no need to put your life at risk. We don't need you physically hurt. We don't need you dealing with these situations. Call a loss prevention officer. They work closely with the Vancouver Police, and Vancouver Police can come and investigate and arrest people.
Do you need more officers to really clamp down on this? Is there a shortage of boots on the street?
Our officers are stretched right now. We could always use more officers. We're dealing with hundreds of thousands of calls a year. We can use more officers for the Vancouver Police Department. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.